Okay, so we are getting started with the topic. Good morning to all of you. And this topic is legal framework governing company secretaries. Now, briefly about company secretary. Under the Companies Act, every listed company and every company having a paid up share capital of about 10 crores, typically even a private company or an unlisted company, should compulsorily have a company secretary. Now, if you recollect, for those who have newly joined also, what is role of a company secretary? The role of a company secretary is today assuming greater significance. And this session particularly, we have all CS students only. So I'm going to give you a brief about what is expected from a company secretary and what are the opportunities available for a company secretary. And then we will quickly move on to the legal aspects of company secretarial role. And the need for a company secretary has emerged over the years, where a company secretary is being identified as a person who is going to be responsible for all compliances, including Companies Act in a company. Now, company secretary plays a key role. He is a key managerial personnel. He is a key managerial personnel under the Companies Act, where he is expected to play a role of a person who is going to be a bridge between the shareholders and the board of directors. So, a company secretary is going to play a key role of coordinating with the board of directors in terms of execution of day-to-day activities and in terms of conducting meetings of shareholders, conducting meetings of board, sending notices, and informing the stock exchanges if it's a listed company. So secretarial role has assumed greater significance over the year. And as the days progress, the role of company secretary is becoming bigger and bigger. That's what I'm seeing in front of my eyes. Because when I finished my CS somewhere in 94, look at it now, 27, 25, 26 years up down the line, then you will see that how this profession has evolved over the years. This profession today is more towards, one is about managing the Companies Act rather, the corporate governance aspects and all that. The second is about, more importantly, about the compliances. That's why today you find a good combination of a company secretary with the law. Today, if you are a student passing out law and company secretary, then I think the world is yours. You have excellent opportunities waiting for you because they go together. Company secretary role itself is more of compliance. So with law also, I think most of you would be having enough opportunities in the days to come, either it be in the industry or practice, etc. Now, as a company secretary, you have an option either to join a company as a company secretary, or you can pursue your practice as a company secretary. In fact, the entire training program for CS is in a manner that you are able to pick up things and you can start your own practice after you qualify. In fact, they have a 21 months of training program, which is a compulsory training program, which every one of you have to attend, either after passing executive or after passing your professional course. And once you pass it, you have to complete this 21 months of training program, and then only you'll be given a membership also. Now, coming to the aspect of membership, what happens once there are various stages to become a qualified company secretary. You may be aware of that. I'll briefly tell you what it is. First, some of you would have finished your CC. First of all, congratulations to those, particularly Sai, Lakshmi and Dharini, who was joining in today. So our CS students community is building up by the day. So once again, I congratulate them for the success in the CCT exam, which was recently, the results were declared, and both of them have come out in flying colors. And once you pass your CC or after qualifying in your basic degree, you are eligible to enroll yourself into CS Executive. You are all aware and you are all pursuing that now. So once you enroll in CS Executive, you have 2 modules, 4 papers each. And if you clear that, you are eligible to move to professional level, the next level, or final what we call. This professional level or final level again comprises 9 papers. And you have to clear all those 9 papers. Then you have to complete the training program also. The training program, what I'm talking about, the 21 months training program is something compulsory for all. And as I said, you have a choice to take it up after your executive or after your professional course. But other training programs or short-term training programs conducted by the institute, 15 days EDP training program and all that is there. And 15 days training program, physical, online mode, etc. All that has come into play now. New training structure. Now, very important, dear students, you're all pursuing your CS course with a hope, with a goal that you want to become a successful company secretary. Good. It's a wonderful course available with excellent opportunities. One thing I can suggest you is that you have to update yourself on a day-to-day basis. and keep abreast of various developments in the legal world, including the Companies Act and other enactments like Income Tax Act, Companies Act, etc. You are expected to be a very good role player in terms of all enactments and compliances by the board of directors, by the management. They look up at you. So they'll ask you, hey, what is the update? So you need to be familiar with that in terms of various compliances and enactments. That is one thing. So the second thing I'm talking about is, okay, once you qualify yourself, you have a choice, as I said, to go to industry or start your own practice. Both are offering you world of opportunities. Both are offering you world of opportunities. And being a key managerial personnel, your responsibility is also very high. Your responsibility also is very high, and you are directly responsible for various things that is carried out in a company based on Companies Act and other enactments. So compliance requirements you have to duly take care. Once you qualify, what happens? You can become a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Institute of Company Secretaries of India offers you a membership. Once you complete all the training requirements and you have completed your final level, this membership is of broadly two categories. One is an associate member. Once you qualify yourself, you are going to be called as an associate member, and they'll enter your name in the register of members. So every institute, CA or CMA or CS institute, they have a register of members. They'll enter your name in the register of members, and you are referred to as ACS. ACS stands for what?
Associate Company Secretary.
Yeah, good. It's referred to as Associate Company Secretary. You are an associate member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. Now, once you complete 5 years of your practice or 5 years of industrial experience, etc., where you go for a company, then you will be eligible to apply for becoming a fellow member of the institute, which is referred to as FCS. So, fellow member of the institute means FCS. ACS, FCS. These are the two membership options you will be getting. Though becoming an FCS is optional, you can choose to become an FCS or you can continue to operate as an ACS, but it's a senior member. Like fellow member means a senior member of the institute. So the institute is going to offer you these two membership. Okay, having said that, once you become a member of the institute, there are certain requirements which you need to necessarily fulfill. We are going to go through in detail about the various code of conduct and various aspects regarding conducting yourself as a company secretary. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you to become a company secretary, but it has got its own challenges in terms of compliance with various regulations of the institute. As a member of the institute, you can do certain things, you cannot do certain things, do's and don'ts. So the code of conduct, what we call code of conduct, and we have something called as professional ethics. We have to follow those meticulously as a professional. What is a profession? A profession is something which is governed by a body. You need to understand that. So we have ACS Institute, which is governing your role as a company secretary. So they are going to guide you in terms of what are the various aspects you need to bear in mind when you are going to either practice as a company secretary or going to perform role of a company secretary in a company. I hope you're able to understand what I'm saying. The company secretary can play a role which covers various areas. As I said, it can cover aspects of law, various compliances, taxation, financial management. Your syllabus itself is in such a way that it gives you an opportunity to learn every aspect of good business. You learn strategic management, you learn financial management, you learn everything that is required to be a successful company secretary as a professional. So this is the way you have to evolve yourself in the days to come. So you need to qualify your executive, take up your professional, and move on to become a member of the institute. And as I said, today there is no shortage of jobs for company secretaries and no shortage of opportunities for company secretaries in practice also. But what are the various aspects, challenges, etc.? What are the various regulations governing a company secretary is what we are going to cover today. We are going to cover in today's lesson called laws governing companies. Okay. Now, any idea? The Company Secretaries Act was enacted in which year?
1980.
1980. Good. Yeah, you have an act called the Company Secretaries Act. Very good. You have an act called the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. Kindly make a note. Kindly make a note. What are the various laws which governs you as an individual in terms of being a company secretary? The first one is the Company Secretaries Act 1980. Kindly make a note. The second one is the Company Secretaries Regulations 1982. The Company Secretaries Regulations 1982. The third, the Company Secretaries Amendment Regulations 2020. The Company Secretaries Amendment Regulations 2020. In fact, this area you will definitely get questions in exam because they would expect you to know this as a company secretary. The weightage could range from 5 to 10 marks. For the last 2-3 topics, the weightage could be a minimum of 5 marks and it could extend up to 10 marks. This company law paper as such, paper 1 of your executive syllabus is such an important subject for you that this is a subject which you can expect to score good marks and they also expect a high quality answer from you. So getting mark in company law is very difficult in company secretary exam, executive program, because they expect good quality from you and you need to be well prepared in the subject. But you can score very well if you're well prepared in the subject. I can assure you that. So concentrate on the subject to a large extent because getting marks in the subject is not easy. Though the subject as such is not tough, I can tell you that. But getting marks in that is not easy because the expectations will be running very high because this is a core subject where you're supposed to be a subject matter expert. You're supposed to be a subject matter expert. So you need to be familiar with all this. The third one, I told you the Company Secretaries Amendment Regulations 2020. And the last one, ICICI Guidelines for Advertisement by Company Secretaries. ICICI Guidelines for Advertisement by Company Secretaries 2020. Now, an interesting aspect regarding professionals like a CA or a CMA or a CS is that, can you offer an advertisement for your services as a professional? As a professional, can you give advertisement of your services? Idea? The answer is yes or no. See, I want all of you to switch on your video, please. Kindly cooperate because this is intended to be an interactive session, a live session, and switching off your video would mean that no, I'm not able to see who's attending, who's not attending, who's responding, who's not responding. So what is the issue? I don't understand. Kindly cooperate, kindly switch on your video and come prepared for the class in such a way that you switch on your video. But that is the purpose of the interactive sessions. There's no point in all of you switching off your video and I only keep talking. That is already there in the video class. So kindly cooperate. I am repeating, all of you should switch on your video.
Sorry to say that. Very sorry, I'm trying to keep my camera on, but due to my net issue.
Sorry?
So now can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
My camera is having some issues, sir. Like net issue, it seems. My Wi-Fi is not at all working where I'm sitting. I don't want to run now, so I want to hear what you are saying. So I'm keeping it off. So from next class, I will ensure that it won't happen. Thank you.
Okay. Understood. Thank you for the clarification. So,
okay, sir.
Good. Thank you, Dharni, for the clarity. Because let us make it interactive. Okay, I want all of you to be participative also. So, I am asking you a question: whether a professional like a company secretary can give advertisement for his services.
I think they can, sir.
Okay, fine. See, I see the class, as I said, your answer need not be right or you just don't worry about whether you're right or wrong. Because interactive means what? See, there are some advantages of discussing certain things with you in such live sessions. You'll be able to remember things better. Correct? That is why we are having these live sessions on top of video classes for most of the topics. So when you talk and discuss about certain things, it's easy for you to remember. Okay, so that's the advantage of having these live sessions. Okay. So, is there any other view on this? Can you carry out an advertisement of your services as a company secretary professional? The answer is yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. The answer is actually no. The answer is actually no. Now, when we say advertisement, I'm going to take you through that. There are certain guidelines based on which you can sort of carry out an advertisement, but technically, the law doesn't. The various provisions of this Company Secretaries Act and guidelines about advertisement, etc., they don't permit professionals like us, like cost accountant, chartered accountant, or a company secretary, to offer any advertisement regarding the services. I cannot put a newspaper ad saying that Venkatesh and Associates offer services on taxation, audit, blah blah blah. No, the institute doesn't allow us. All the three institutes. In fact, this could be a question also in exam. XYZ company secretaries, they wanted to advertise What is your opinion? So you have to give the provisions regarding ICICI guidelines for advertisement by company secretaries 2020. We'll be going through that very soon. So these are the 4 basic enactments and regulations which is governing your operation as a company secretary. Now we are understanding about the role of a company secretary. Very, very important, because you have chosen to become a company secretary. You have chosen this course and you wanted to become a company secretary. Your dream is to become a company secretary. So you need to know what are the various regulations that are going to govern you. Now, when I say code of conduct, I am not supposed to do certain things as a professional. For example, I'll tell you, without seeing in the institute, we have something called as a central council and regional council. How does this institute actually operate? I'll tell you. Institute has got members who are chosen as central council members. Central council members means like equivalent of a member of a parliament, for example, for easy understanding. Nothing to do with politics here. And you have MLAs who are basically representatives sitting in legislative assembly. So there are 2 levels, right? Similar to that in CA, in ACS Institute or CA Institute or ICW Institute, you have 2 levels: central council members on top and regional council members. The regional council, you are all governed under regional council here for local administration purposes. You have an office. You know where is your ACS Institute office? In Chennai, regional council office, where the regional council meetings are taking place, and you have central council in Delhi or Noida. Any area where ACS Institute office is located in Chennai, you are all ACS students. We are in a world where, very interestingly, we assume things right. No, ACS Institute எங்கேயோ இருக்குது. அது எங்க இருந்தா இருக்கட்டும், பாட்டுக்கு இருக்கட்டும். நம்ம படிக்கிறோம், பாஸ் பண்றோம் ஏசிஎஸ்ஐ கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி. நாளைக்கு பாஸ் பண்ணி குவாலிஃபை ஆனதுக்கு அப்புறம் உங்க இன்ஸ்டியூட் எங்கப்பா இருக்கு? சென்னையில எங்கேயோ இருக்கு சார், இப்ப மாத்திட்டாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன், தெரியல எனக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. எங்க இருக்கு ஏசிஎஸ் இன்ஸ்டியூட்? இட்ஸ் வெரி சிம்பிள் அண்ட் இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் கொஸ்டின். Of course, some of you belong to Chennai, but still you should know it. Any idea?
I think Nugambakam, sir.
Yeah, correct. It's in Nugambakam. Correct, good. Nugambakam. Any of you have visited the ACS Institute?
No, sir.
Of course, not everyone maybe, because some of you are outside Chennai. So, being in Chennai, you know where the institute is located in Nugambakam. Where, any idea? Anybody has visited it? You wanted to go and see? Of course. Now, what is happening is this: other issues are not allowing us to do. Don't worry. At the earliest opportunity to visit the institute, go and have a look at your institute. No, tomorrow you're going to talk to yourself as alma mater. My institute is offering me this opportunity and all that. It is in Nugambakam, Wheatcroft's Road, and this is Wheatcroft's Road is somewhere near College Road. If you're familiar with Chennai, if you go through Nugambakam High Road, and at the end of Nugambakam High Road, you just take a turn on the right. And of course, without talking about U-turn and all that, and one way and all that, on the left-hand side, you have a road called the Wheatcroft's Road. I used to visit the institute regularly in the earlier days for various purposes. No, in fact, you have something called a pre-exam. All of you are aware of that. You are having pre-exam for students who have joined newly. Before going for your main exams, you have to write answers and submit it online. You have a pre-exam. Earlier days, we used to have it in a physical mode. Very, very laborious exercise of writing answers for question papers. At the end of the study material, they would have given you 3 question papers. Carefully understand. And out of these 3, I think you need to write 1 or 2 or something. Third is compulsory, other 2 is optional. You have to write answer papers in answer paper, write answer for that and submit to the institute for evaluation purposes. They will evaluate and give back the answers. So this was a very tedious process for students like us who have to write everything and submit it. Today you have pre-exam, which is online mode. Fairly simpler one. Okay, so institute we used to visit regularly to go and drop the answer sheets. Nowadays, institute itself, the activity is low-key because everything is centralized today. Everything is centralized in Delhi or Noida. Today, anything you want to resolve, you have to apply to Noida only. Any issues, you have to send it to Noida only. So anyhow, it's better to know it. Okay, what I'm trying to convey here is you have a regional council office in Chennai, which is in Nugambakam. That is your office of ACS Institute in Chennai. Then you have a central council sitting in Delhi. That's a central council office. Okay. Now, The members, company secretaries, they are chosen as regional council members and central council members. That is something you need to be familiar with. I'm trying to give you a brief about what is a company secretary, what role he plays, what all the things you are supposed to know about the company secretary. All that is what we are discussing here. Today, that is a session. The legal framework, I'm going to go into little detail, but before that, I want to give you some briefing about the role of a company secretary. So you will be a member and you will also be eligible to choose, like a democratic process, your regional council members and central council members. You will be eligible to vote. You have an election also. In ACS Institute, you have an election where you are supposed to vote. You have as a member, you have a right to vote. And when you vote, you vote for choosing your regional council members and central council members. For example, if I am a member of ACS Institute, I can stand in an election. You may choose to vote for me. You are all my students. So I can become a regional council member, or I can contest for a central council. They are all the people who govern or administer the institute. So they provide for policy framework. Then in institute, there are other administrative heads, secretary. They are all called administrative heads. Carefully understand. The administrative head of the institute is called a secretary, and various positions are there in the institute. They are just administering the institute. But who are all the regional council members and central council members? Central council members and regional council members facilitate policy decisions with respect to operating the institute, how to conduct exams, how to do various things. All that is decided by the institute. So in central council members, you have somebody called the president of the institute and vice president of the institute. You need to know who is the president of your ACS institute. Any idea who is president of your ACS institute? You need to know that. And there is a president and vice president. Every year the president will change. Every year the president will change. And normally the vice president will become good. Keshav, I like it. It's Nageshwar Rao. Very good. Keshav said it right. So Nageshwar Rao, Mr. Nageshwar Rao is the current president of the ACS Institute. And there's also vice president. And normally the vice president will become the president in the next year. Every 3 years or so, there is a election. This is just to make you understand about your institute operations. Okay. Right. Now, let us go into details of various aspects regarding legal framework governing a company secretary. Before going into that technical part of it, do you have any other questions to ask me at this stage?
No, sir.
So, the purpose of this session is to make you all feel you're part of ACS Institute, you're a member, you're going to qualify, you're going to become a company secretary in practice, you're going to become going for a job as a company secretary. Very prestigious job, very, very responsible job. At the young age, you have to shoulder the responsibility. Directly, in fact, interestingly, today, one company secretary course offers you an opportunity after you qualify and become a member to directly become a company secretary. Though they may expect for a larger corporate, they may expect experienced people. But freshers, when you qualify, you can go still and because you are given a training also. 21 months training is there, right? So you're given all adequate training to go and take up the responsibility of a company secretary from day one. Once you pass your final exam, your training requirements are completed. After that, there is a training requirement, a simple training requirement, 1 month compulsory training requirement. Once you finish off that, you get a certificate of membership and you are ready to go for a job or start your practice. From day one, you can do that. And very interesting, today, every company told you having a paid up capital of more than 10 crores. There are many companies today, you know that. There are a huge number of companies which is coming in this listed company category, and unlisted companies and private companies having a paid up capital of 10 crores and above are also large in number. So once you qualify, there are people who are ready to welcome you. You have to go and take the role as a company secretary, right from day one. Quite possible. So you need to be well equipped for that. No doubt about that. How can you go and handle a responsible job as a company secretary? First of all, you have to go and sit in a board meeting. And the board of directors are guys who have very senior level members will be there. You have to handle them. So what I mean to say is, so your understanding, knowledge, capability should be of the highest standard. I always tell my students, and I like to tell you, of course, you're all my students, that passing exam is incidental. Passing exam is not your goal. Becoming a successful company secretary is your goal. Passing exam happens in the process of becoming a good company secretary. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Short-term goal is company secretary, passing exam and all that. But what is your long-term goal? To become a good company secretary. For becoming a good company secretary, you have to pass some exams, qualifying exams, and you're passing and becoming. So, passing exam doesn't alone make you a good company secretary. Do you agree? Because you need to have that knowledge. That is what I'm repeating, dear students. ஏதாவது பண்ணி நம்ம பாஸ் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்க கூடாது. I mean, what I mean to say is, no, நிறைய பேர் எங்கிட்ட கேட்பாங்க, சார் எது சார் important topic? What is important, what is unimportant in a professional course? There's nothing like that. நம்ம சிஏ ஐசிடபிள்யூ ஏசிஎஸ்ல மட்டும்தான் நம்ம எது இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் எது அன்இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்லாம் பார்க்குறோம். நாளைக்கு வந்து ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் யூ ஆர் சப்போஸ் டு பி வெரி குட் இன் எசென்ஷியல் கமாடிட்டிஸ் ஆக்ட் அப்படின்னா எனக்கு தெரியாது, நான் அந்த டாபிக் ஸ்கிப் பண்ணிட்டேன், ஏன்னா அடிக்கடி எக்ஸாம்ல வராது, அது இப்படி வந்தாலும் 4 மார்க் தான் வரும், பரவாயில்லன்னு விட்டுட்டு நான் வந்து வேற டாபிக்ல ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணேன், நீங்க சொல்ல முடியுமா? நீங்க ப்ராக்டிக்கலா சொல்ல முடியும், ஆனா டெக்னிக்கலா அது ரைட்டா? கேன் யூ எவர் சே இன் a board of directors meeting, hey
No, sir.
company secretary, can you brief us about the essential commodities act? சாரி சார், அதுதான் சார் நான் சிலபஸ்ல ஸ்கிப் பண்ணிட்டேன், எங்க சார் வந்து அது படிக்க வேண்டான்ட்டார், பரீட்சைக்கு வராதுன்ட்டார். அப்படியா?
Can't, sir.
சரி, குட், கரெக்ட். காம்படிஷன் ஆக்ட் தெரியுமாப்பா? இல்ல அது பாதி படிச்சேன், அதுக்குள்ள எக்ஸாம் வந்துருத்து, நான் போய் எழுத வேண்டியதை எடுத்து. நானா பாஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன் சார், 60 மார்க் சார் அந்த சப்ஜெக்ட்ல. போர்ட் ஆஃப் டைரக்டர் திருத்துன்னு முடிப்பாரு, என்ன இந்த பையன் பாஸ் பண்ணிட்டீங்கன்னா எசென்ஷியல் கமாடிட்டிஸ் ஆக்ட் கேட்டா தெரியாதுங்கிறான், காம்படிஷன் ஆக்ட் கேட்டா தெரியாதுங்கிறான், கம்பெனிஸ் ஆக்ட் ஃபுல்லா தெரியுமா? ஓரளவுக்கு நல்லா தெரியும் சார். அது என்ன தெரியும் உனக்கு? அதுல கடைசி 4 டாபிக் தான் பாக்கி எல்லாம் தெரியும் சார், பாக்கி எல்லாம் படிச்சுட்டேன் சார். So this cannot be your answer, correct? Because I have been in industry, I work in industry. Even as a practicing professional, you need to know all of that. Okay, so that's very important. That's what I'm highlighting the point, that as you study, make it a point that you study everything in your subject and topic. Don't skip anything. There's nothing like important and unimportant. The same thing can you ever expect from a doctor? I used to say this. You go to a doctor, you tell him that I have a neck pain. Can the doctor say neck pain? Okay. நான் அந்த ஒரு லெசன் மட்டும் தான் படிக்கல, பரவாயில்ல ஒரு நிமிஷம் இருங்க, அந்த புக்கை பார்த்துட்டு உங்களுக்கு என்ன ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் சொல்றேன், நீங்க அப்படியே வாசல் வழியா வெளில வந்துருவீங்க. And a doctor afford to be choosy in studying like, no, இல்ல எனக்கு நெக் பெயினை பத்தி நான் படிக்கல, கால் வலினா சொல்லுங்க ஏதாவது பண்றேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்ல முடியுமா?
No, sir.
So
We won't be.
you won't, exactly.
We won't go with sir.
We won't go, exactly. You don't even go to a doctor who's going to talk like that. So this is a similar expectation from a company secretary also. Let us not forget that. For me, I am triply qualified, triplet, CA, CME, CS. For me, every qualification is equally important. And equally, I got all these degrees, professional course degrees, with a lot of efforts only. What I mean to say, as budding professionals, you need to have in mind, I'm going to become a good company secretary. I'm going to perform a role as a company secretary. I need to be familiar with all the rules, regulations, governing me also. No, I cannot advertise. I cannot do certain things. I cannot quote a fee which is lower than. இப்போ போன வாட்டி ஒரு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி ஒரு ஃபீஸ் கோட் பண்ணார் ஒரு கம்பெனிக்கு 1 lakh. நான் வந்து அண்டர் கட் பண்ணி அந்த ஜாப் அந்த இது எனக்கு கிடைக்கணும்னால 50,000 ரூபாய் நான் கோட் பண்றேன். தட்ஸ் கால்ட் அண்டர் கட்டிங் பேர், அதெல்லாம் பண்ணக்கூடாது. ஸோ there are various professional code of conduct we go through in detail. Here, so you're getting a picture as your role as a company secretary, or you're getting a picture. So put yourself into the picture. You are a company secretary. You are going to be the key guy in the management of affairs of the company. You are supposed to be familiar with all the rules, regulations, compliances, and in general, and also that which regulates you as a company secretary. So this topic is more towards the regulations which are governing us as company secretaries. What are things I am supposed to do? What are things I am not supposed to do? All that. Okay, shall we proceed further? Okay, good. So I have a small presentation prepared to make it simple for you on this topic, and I'll also cover your institute study material is covered it very well. I'm also trying to take it from your institute study material for discussion purposes. So at home, you can go through that in all the more detail. I also covered in all the more detail for the classroom discussion purposes. Still, you can go through your institute study material in full detail to understand these topics completely. So I am also going to take you through in as much detail as possible. So anywhere, any doubts you are, feel free to stop me. Okay. So let us take through the go through the presentation. I'll just share the screen. Able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
All of you are able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Great. So today we are going to understand about the legal framework governing company secretaries in detail. So let's proceed. First of all, the purpose of this particular topic for you is basically to understand the expectations as a member with respect to various aspects of ethical conduct. I was just briefing you about that. Now, as a member of the institute, either as a associate member or as a fellow member of the institute, we are supposed to conduct ourselves in a proper way. How are we supposed to conduct ourselves? That is what we are going to cover in detail in this lesson. Secondly, this particular lesson is going to enable us or assist us in defining the appropriate personal and professional conduct to provide guidance and identification resolution of ethical issues. Now, as a company secretary, we will be facing a lot of ethical issues. How are we supposed to handle it is also provided for under code of conduct, and it is going to help us as a company secretary to maintain the culture of honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Always remember this. So, as a company secretary, we are supposed to be honest with highest level of integrity, transparency, and accountability, because that is what is going to establish ourselves as a good professional, good company secretary. That we shouldn't compromise on this in any form. In fact, I would add here one more: confidentiality aspects. As professionals, we are supposed to maintain highest level of confidentiality in dealing with matters of our clients. So I think that is something which you need to be familiar with. Always maintain confidentiality, okay? Accountability, transparency, integrity, honesty, and I would add here one more as confidentiality. Now let us go through the Company Secretaries Act of 1980, which is defining the company secretary. Look at this carefully. Who is a company secretary? Now you are all referred to as a company secretary after you qualify, but there is a definition of a company secretary. Company secretary means a person who is a member of the institute. I told you, you can become a member who is an associate member or a fellow member. So any one is okay. First of all, you become an associate member, then only you become a fellow member. So who is a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India? And the role of company secretary is defined in various other enactments under the Companies Act, where there is a definition of company secretary under the Companies Act under section 2, subsection 24. Company secretary or secretary means a company secretary as defined in clause C of subsection 1 of 2 of Company Secretaries Act 1980, who is appointed by the company to perform the functions of a company secretary under the Companies Act. So the two important definitions given here, one is about, carefully observe, one is about what? The definition under the Companies Act, which defines a company secretary. If you go to definition under the Companies Act, section 2, subsection 24, it defines company secretary as a company secretary who is a member of the institute, and that is governed under the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. Are you able to understand this? So there's no specific definition of a company secretary in the Companies Act. It itself draws reference of a definition under the Company Secretaries Act of 1980. Now every member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India is a company secretary. நாளைக்கு நீங்க உங்களை கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி நேமுக்கு பக்கத்துல போட்டுக்க போறீங்க இல்லையா, ACS, FCS அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு. When can you put that? So I told you about exam, passing your exams, your executive level, and for those of you, of course, all of you are pursuing your executive level. I need to tell you an important thing, which is a recent development. Now, the ACS Institute is going to offer you a separate certificate as something like CS executive. So they have given a new name for that. I'll tell you what it is. Earlier, it was not the case. Now, the institute has taken a very good initiative of offering you a separate certificate once you qualify in ACS executive and complete your training requirements of 21 months training program. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? இப்போ நீங்க எக்ஸிகியூட்டிவ் முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் அந்த 21 months ட்ரைனிங்கும் முடிச்சாச்சு அப்படின்னா ஃபைனல் முடிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே they're going to give you a separate certificate. That certificate is a worthy certificate where you can use it for your job and all that. இப்ப நாளைக்கு ஒரு பெரிய லிஸ்டட் கம்பெனில போய் நீங்க ஜாயின் பண்ண போறீங்க, இந்துஸ்தான் யூனிலீவர், அதுல ஒரு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி ஏற்கனவே இருக்க, குவாலிஃபைட் கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி. பட் நீங்களும் போய் டைரக்டா கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி சேர முடியாது. So you can be a team member. You can join as an associate or assistant company secretary or whatever they may give as a designation. அப்போ இந்த certificate will be very helpful. இது முன்னாடி கிடையாது. For recent institute has notified that they are going to offer you a separate certificate. So the semi-qualified executive semi-qualified, and the semi-qualified company secretaries you will go certificate, which is a very good development. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. So the definition of a company secretary, let's now proceed further. So this is about the definition of a company secretary is under Companies Act, which is referring to who is the company secretary, who is going to perform the functions of a company secretary. So the members of the institute shall be divided into two classes, designated as associates and fellows. And the person whose name is entered in the register of members of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India shall be deemed to be associate members. So first of all, when you become a member of the Institute of Company Secretaries, you are referred to as associate member. And after 5 years of continuous being an associate member, you can automatically apply to become a fellow member. You can either be in employment or in practice. Both options are okay. And so associate member means once you qualify and complete the training requirements, you can apply to become a member of the institute on payment of a prescribed fee, and they'll enter your name in the register of members. Then later you can become a fellow member. Who is a fellow member? A person being an associate who has been in continuous practice in India as a company secretary for at least 5 years, and a person who has been an associate for a continuous period of not less than 5 years, and who possesses such qualifications or practical experience as the council may prescribe. This council na penna உங்களுக்கு ஞாபகம் வருது. Council we discuss. What is the council now? Because to understand this, you need to know what is the council. So the council may prescribe with a view to ensuring that he has got adequate experience equivalent to the normally expected experience of continuous practice for 5 years, and shall on payment of the fee be registered as a fellow member. And so once you qualify as a company secretary, you are taken in as an associate member, and after 5 years of continuous service in industry or practice, you will automatically be eligible to become a fellow member, and you have to apply for becoming a fellow member on payment of a prescribed fee. You will become a fellow member of the institute, FCS. And a member is entitled to continue to practice as a company secretary, whether in India or elsewhere, only after obtaining a certificate of practice. This is very important, dear students. Normally, for practicing as a company secretary, you need to also obtain additional certificate referred to as a certificate of practice. Now, very important, carefully understand this. You get something called a certificate referred to as a member of the institute once you qualify. I told you that you can become straight away an associate member once you qualify your exam and complete the training requirements. So they'll give you a separate certificate. You have to see, there are 2-3 things you need to be very clear. One is when you pass your professional exam, final exam, they are going to offer you a mark sheet, and as I said, now only they have decided to give you a certificate of passing. They'll give a certificate of pass. Certificate of pass means what? Certificate of having passed the professional course. That's a certificate available with you. Now, carefully understand. After getting the certificate of pass in final level, once you complete your training programs, you have to specifically apply to become a member of the institute. And once you apply to become a member of the institute by payment of the prescribed fee, once everything is okay, training requirements completed, everything is completed, then they will make you a member of the institute by entering your name in the register of members, and you'll become immediately an associate member. Once you become an associate member, you're eligible to take up a job and carry out the function of a company secretary in a company. Because every company, I told you, who needs a company secretary? So to perform the role of a company secretary in a company, you can be an associate member, that is good enough. No need to take certificate of practice, obviously, because you're only going to go for a job. It's basically a role. And you're eligible to perform the role as a company secretary under Companies Act, because you are a member of the institute. Because if you go to the Companies Act definition, who is a company secretary? A company secretary is a person who is a member of the institute according to the Company Secretaries Act 1980. So you're already a member, you're registered as an associate member, and you're eligible to become a company secretary of a company. But if you want to start your practice as a company secretary, then you have to apply separately and get a certificate of practice. Then only you can put a board, practicing company secretary, PCS, very popularly referred to as PCS. so and so name, practicing company secretary. And we are going to discuss later about practicing as a proprietor, individual, or practicing as a firm, joining together. And you start your practice. So for that, you have to apply and get the certificate of practice. Are you able to understand? So there is a separate procedure as an additional requirement for starting your own practice, wherein you have to obtain a separate certificate called certificate of practice, which is required over and above the certificate of membership. Understood or not? So certificate of pass. So நீங்க ஒரு doubt வரலாம். So நான் certificate of pass வாங்கிட்டேன். But I don't want to either go for a job as a company secretary or I don't want to practice as a company secretary. I want to do my own business. Is it possible to do? I want to start a business wherein I'm going to carry out a real estate activity, or I'm going to start a textile company, or I'm going to start a restaurant or whatever, food business, etc. Now carefully understand this. You are qualified company secretary, you got a certificate of pass, but you can choose to become a member. Choose, carefully understand. You can choose to become a member or you can choose not to become a member. When would you choose to become a member? You would choose to become a member when you're going to go for a job or for practice. Yes or no? ஏன்னா அந்த சர்டிபிகேட் ஆஃப் மெம்பர்ஷிப் இல்லாட்டி நீங்க ரெண்டுமே பண்ண முடியாது. பிராக்டிஸும் பண்ண முடியாது, ஜாபுக்கும் போக முடியாது. பட் நான் ஜாபுக்கே போக போறதுல, பிராக்டிஸும் பண்ண போறதுல, எனக்கு எங்க அப்பாவோட பிசினஸ் இருக்கு, பெரிய பிசினஸ், நான் அதுலதான் நான் போய் I'm going to join him and carry on the business activity. அப்போ the next question that comes in your mind is, do I need to take a certificate of membership? The answer is need not. You need not take a certificate of membership, because once you take a certificate of membership, you are governed by the membership related rules and regulations. That is, you are supposed to do this, you are not supposed to do this. No, பெரிய guidelines இருக்கு. அதுதான் நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். ஒரு மெம்பரா நீங்க வந்து சில பிசினஸ் ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ்லாம் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட்டோட பர்மிஷன் இல்லாம நீங்க பண்ண முடியாது. நான் மெம்பர்ஷிப் வாங்கிட்டேன், நானா பிசினஸ் பண்றேன், பண்ண முடியுமா? Yes, I can do. Very important point, dear students. Out of experience, I'm sharing all of this with you. Nobody will probably tell you this in any other forum. Once you become a company secretary, you become a member of the institute, and can you still carry on a business without practice or job? The answer is yes. But you'll be governed by the rules regarding members, which is what we discussed about the professional code of conduct and ethics, particularly code of conduct. Code of conduct, they are going to give you a guidance as to how are you supposed to do certain things, what do's and don'ts, sort of. Now, company secretary member, I am governed by the rules of the company secretary member, so I have some regulations which I have to comply with. No choice. So I can choose to become a member, but I have to follow that. Or alternatively, I can choose not to become a member. அப்ப நீங்க என்ன கேட்கலாம், சார் சர்டிபிகேட் வச்சு நான் என்ன பண்ணணும்? சர்டிபிகேட் வச்சு ஒண்ணும் பண்ண வேண்டாம். டெய்லி கார்த்தால ஒரு தடவை எழுந்து பார்த்துட்டு ஹாப்பியா IACS பாஸ் பண்ணிட்டேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நீங்க பாட்டுக்கு உங்க பிசினஸ் பார்த்துட்டு போயிட்டே இருக்கலாம். ஒரு சாட்டிஸ்பாக்சன், ஒரு குவாலிஃபிகேஷன். இட்ஸ் a qualification. You are choosing not to become a company secretary for practice or whatever, because you have already something to do. That's okay. But once you become a member, you are governed by the rules and regulations. Understand that? Are you clear? Any doubts at this stage? All of you are getting a feel that you are a company secretary today, and the feel கிடைக்கிறதா இல்லையா? இந்த ஒரு பாதி ஃபீலா கிடைக்கணும். பரவாயில்ல, நம்ம கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி ஆக போறோம் அப்படியே அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு பாதி ஃபீலா கிடைச்சிருக்கணும் உங்களுக்கு. ஐ ஹோப் ஸோ. ஏன்னா இவ்வளவு பேஷனேட்டா நான் உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். நீங்க இத்தனை நேரம் வந்து ஒரு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி நீங்களே ஒரு ட்ரீம்ல இருக்கணும். ஐ ஒன்லி விஷ் தட் இட் வில் ஹேப்பன். எனி டவுட்ஸ்? உங்களுக்கு வேற ஏதாவது கிளாரிட்டி வேணுமா? இப்போ நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண பாயிண்ட்ஸ்ல
No doubts, sir.
கிளியரா இருக்கா எல்லாருக்கும்? வெரி குட், வெரி குட், வெரி குட், சூப்பர். Okay, so this is the position. Kindly understand that. So you can become a member of the institute and automatically you will be eligible to become a practicing company secretary, or you can go for a job. Clear? Good. Let's move on now. This is the point I was explaining. A member is entitled to continue the practice as a company secretary, whether in India or elsewhere, after obtaining a certificate of practice, which is essential. Now, register of members, I told you, once you become a member, the institute will enter your name in the register of members, and the council shall maintain in the prescribed manner. The council I refer to as a central council and regional council. Okay, the register of members is maintained by the central council, shall maintain in the prescribed manner a register of members of the institute, and you'll be given a number, registration number. ACS 1410, whatever number, they will have a system of numbering the membership. They'll give you a membership number. And similarly for FCS also, there's a separate tracking number. So you will be identified with that number only. The register shall include the following particulars about every member. One is about the full name, date of birth, domicile, residential and professional addresses. Then, of course, this is very simple. So you can give your name. They will have all the data with them, but you have to still furnish this, make an application form for becoming a member. So you have to make a separate application form. This is what I said. After you qualify, you have to still make an application for registering as a member. Then register as a certificate of practice. For certificate of practice, apply for certificate of practice if you want to practice. If you want to go for a job, no need to apply for certificate of practice. The date on which his name is entered in the register. So your registration will be effective from a particular date. From that date, you will be referred as a member. Qualification, other qualifications apart from ACS, whether he holds a certificate of practice and whether any other particulars as may be prescribed should be furnished by the member. The council shall cause to be published in the list of members of the institute as on the first day of April each year. They'll have a list of members as on 1st April. You can have a list of members any day, but they'll publish it. And every member of the institute shall, on his name being entered in the register, pay an annual membership fee as may be decided by the council from time to time. Okay, there is a small fee you have to pay as a member. For example, you have to pay annually some 2,000, 3,000 rupees to be a member of the institute. And you have certain benefits of being a member of the institute. You can vote on the elections. I said only members can vote, others can't vote. Once you become a member of the institute, you can vote whether associate member or fellow member. You have equal rights to vote, and you can choose your regional council member and central council member who will be a representative and who will be basically taking care of your requirements. Okay, this is the essence of becoming a member of the institute. And if a person who is dead or somebody who is applying to remove his name from the members, they will remove the name from the register of members. Sometimes there are many issues regarding payment of fees also. Some members may not pay the fee properly, and their name will be removed from the register of members, and you have to apply again to restore it. So removed from the register of members, in the following cases, the council may remove from the register the name of any member of the institute. One is who is dead or from whom a request has been received to remove him, or who has not paid the prescribed fee, and who is found to have been subject to the time when his name is entered or any time thereafter becoming disabled in section 8 of the Company Secretaries Act, or who for any other reason has ceased to be entitled to have his name won. So normally what happens, there is something called a disqualification and all that. So once a member becomes disqualified, his name will be removed. So it can be various reasons. I can apply, okay, I can tell the institute, kindly remove my name from the members. They may do so. Or by death of a person, they will remove the name of the member from the register of members. Or as I said, for non-payment of fees or any other reason, a member's name will be removed from the register of members. And the council shall remove from the register the name of any member in respect of whom an order has been passed under this act for removing him from membership of the institute. Now, there is another important point, dear students. We'll be discussing in a lot more detail a little later. But there is something called, as I said, if a member of the institute has not performed his functions properly, he has been, let us say, particularly, let us say, for example, either in job or in practice. Let us say, Mr. X is a practicing company secretary. Now, as a practicing company secretary, you have various attest functions you can perform. And it is observed that, let us say, one of the areas where you can practice is offering a secretarial audit. There is an audit for secretarial matters referred to as secretarial audit. Every or chartered accountant will do audit of financial statements. Every or cost accountant will do audit of cost records. Adhe mari, a company secretary will carry out audit of secretarial matters in a company. So if I am a practicing company secretary, I am appointed as a secretarial auditor for XYZ Limited. I go and perform my function as a secretarial auditor, and I need to give a certificate or report. And once I do that, I give a confirmation like all secretarial matters and compliances have been duly complied with the company and a certificate. Other than audit. Every financial records proper or chartered accountant audit panni certificate opinion opinion adhe marna or company secretary opinion. It's an audit. Audit nale opinion the certificate. Opinion is different, certificate is different. So you as a company secretary who is in practice will give a certificate or rather an opinion as to whether the company has complied with various secretarial requirements and compliance requirements. So it is an attest function. You can sign பண்ணணும். நாளைக்கு நீங்க பாட்டு சைன் பண்ணி everything is in order அப்படின்றீங்க, பட் அது ஒரு மேஜர் ப்ராப்ளம் வந்து சரியா கம்ப்ளைண்ட் பண்ணலாம். அப்போ there will be an issue of negligence, wherein the institute can take an action against the company secretary and tell that because of you being negligent, you have given a wrong opinion. And this can become a case for removal of that particular company secretary from the membership. Have you got the point? So removal of memberங்கிறதுக்கு அது ஒரு ரீசன். அது வந்து ஒரு பிராக்டிசிங் கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரியோ இல்ல அதே மாதிரி இப்ப அதுதான் பார்க்க போறோம். கான்டாக்ட், ப்ரொஃபஷனல் கான்டாக்ட், மிஸ்கான்டாக்ட் பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா? நெக்லிஜென்ஸ், ஒரு ஜாப்ல நீங்க சரியா பண்ணல, இல்ல ஒரு ஜாப்ல ஏதோ ஃப்ராட் கமிட் பண்ணிட்டாரு, அந்த மாதிரி இஷ்யூஸ்ல they can remove the company secretary, okay, from the register of members. There is an immediate implication with regard to Company Secretaries Act. I'm not talking about other enactments which can come into play. ஏன்னா ஒரு பர்சன் ஃப்ராட் பண்ணாரு, அப்படி கிரிமினல் ஆக்டிவிட்டி எல்லாம் பண்ணாருன்னா கிரிமினல் ப்ரொசீஜர் கோட் இருக்கு, எல்லாமே இருக்கு. அது அதை பத்தி நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணல. இப்ப நம்ம பேசுறது எல்லாமே கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரிஸ் ஆக்ட். Okay, so this is just for information. We are all very sincere in our job, and so I don't think this is very much to be worried about. But for those who do not, for some reason, carry out a proper work, the membership may be removed. They will be removed from the membership. This is the procedure for removal of a member also. One of the reasons as to why a member is removed from the register of members. Understood? All of you clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Good. Any doubts at this stage? No? All of you clear? Okay. Let's move on now. Disciplinary mechanism. This is what I was highlighting to you. The institute has got a disciplinary mechanism where they'll take action against those company secretaries who are not carrying out their jobs properly. So they can remove the membership from the register. So member of the institute is subject to the disciplinary mechanism provided under Chapter 5 of the Company Secretaries Act 1980. And the disciplinary directorate, Section 21 of the Act, provides for establishment of a disciplinary directorate. So அதுக்கு தனியாவே ஒரு directorate இருக்கும் instituteல, and it will be headed by an officer of the institute designated as a director discipline and such other employees for making investigation in respect of information or complaint received by it. So if somebody is going to furnish a complaint regarding a company secretary, the disciplinary directorate will get into action. They'll start investigating as to what happened and all that. Then they'll decide finally whether to keep him in member or not. On receipt of any information or complaint along with the prescribed fee, the director discipline shall arrive at a prima facie opinion on the occurrence of alleged misconduct. Now, if a company secretary, there are 2-3 issues that can happen. One is about, as I said, non-performance of a job. That is, as I said, sort of a negligence. The other one is misconduct. You are not complying with the rules and regulations governing a company secretary. If you are a member of the institute, you are not supposed to what? Carry on a business. But நீங்க பாட்டுக்கு இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் இன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணாம ஒரு பிசினஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க. You are also a member. That goes to the knowledge of the institute. They can remove you from the membership. In fact, ஒரு important point நான் என்ன ஹைலைட் பண்ணுவீங்க அப்படின்னா, one of the cases like the institute is so strict about these things. The institute is very strict. Your ACS institute in particular is very strict. Because there are few things which you can do as a member, but with prior permission from the institute. Do certain things where you are supposed to take a prior permission from the institute without taking their approval or permission, and you continue to do that, and the institute comes to know about it, then they can take disciplinary action. அதாவது என்னன்னா, நம்ம இன்ஸ்டிடியூட்டோட ரெகுலேஷன்ஸ்ல நம்ம we are governed. அதான் rules governing a company secretary, laws governing a company secretary. We are all governed by it. ஓடவும் முடியாது, ஒளியவும் முடியாதுன்னு சொல்றோம். அது மாதிரி எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியாது. எதா இருந்தாலும் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட்டை கேட்காம நம்ம சொல்ல முடியாது. நம்ம வீட்டுல ஒரு வேலை பண்ணோம்னா அம்மா அப்பாட்ட கேட்காம எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாது இல்லையா? இல்லாட்டி அம்மா அப்பா டிசிப்ளினரி ஆக்ஷன் எடுத்துருவாங்க. நீங்க பாட்டுக்கு ஏதோ அம்மா அப்பா பர்மிஷன் இல்லாம சிலது பண்ண முடியாது. அதே மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி ரோல் when you perform, you cannot do it without approval from the or permission from the institute. That is the reason where if somebody does something as a professional misconduct, then the institute will have every right to remove him from the register of members. That's done by disciplinary committee. They will not just like that do it. They will investigate, they'll check out and find out whether at all this person has done something wrong. Then if it is conclusive, proven, then they'll remove them. Otherwise, they'll not. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah, such acknowledgement will help me. Kindly keep acknowledging. Understood, yes, all that. It will be easier for me to move forward. So the disciplinary director shall follow the procedure to make investigations under the Act regarding the removal of a member, and where the director discipline is of the opinion that a member is guilty of professional misconduct or any other misconduct mentioned in the first schedule, then the matter shall be placed before the Board of Discipline. And where the director of discipline is of the opinion that a member is guilty of professional misconduct or any other misconduct mentioned in the second schedule or in both the schedules, the matter shall be placed with the disciplinary committee. And section 21C of the Act provides that for the purpose of any inquiry under the provisions of this Act, the authority, the disciplinary committee, Board of Discipline and Director Discipline shall have the same powers as are vested in a civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure. This is very, very important. Dear students, kindly make a note. The disciplinary committee, the Board of Discipline and Director Discipline shall have powers of a civil court. Now, in your syllabus, you have something called Code of Civil Procedure that comes under the subject General Laws and Procedures and Jurisprudence subject. So you have a separate act or Code of Civil Procedure. Now, whenever there is a matter relating to disciplinary issue which goes to the disciplinary committee of the institute, they actually get powers of a civil court as given under Code of Civil Procedure 1908. That means they'll be like a court. They'll have powers to do what? Very, very important. You keep finding this here and there. Very, very important. Code of Civil Procedure 908 offers you the disciplinary committee the power of a court, civil court, to do what? Summoning and enforcing attendance of any person and examining him on oath, and the discovery and production of any document and receiving evidence of an affidavit. So as a civil court, you can do like enforcing attendance of a person, that is to come and they will hear you, and before taking any action, they'll give you an opportunity of being heard. Because under law of natural justice, nobody can take an action against another person without giving him an opportunity of being heard. So the civil court, whatever powers they have, the same powers are available for the disciplinary committee also. Are you able to understand? Clear? Any doubt?
No doubt, sir. Clear, sir.
We'll proceed now. Okay, good. So let's now move on. When we talk of professional misconduct, it can be broadly classified and it is given under Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 of the Act, of the Companies Secretaries Act 1980. Very, very important, dear students. Now, this is a very important summary. Legal framework governing company secretaries law, in the professional misconduct, as a professional, you have done some misconduct. And what are the types of misconduct? If you don't go by what is given in the regulations and carry out something which is not given in the regulations, it is said that you are carrying out something which is a misconduct and you will be subject to disciplinary action. Okay, what are all the things, what is mentioned where? That is a very important summary here. Professional misconduct in relation to company secretary in practice given in part 1 of the first schedule. Now, this act has got 2 schedules, and in the first schedule, we have a part 1 which talks about professional misconduct in relation to company secretary in practice. I said you can choose to practice or you can choose to go for a job. Secondly, professional misconduct in relation to members of the institute in service, part 2 of the first schedule. Professional misconduct in relation to members of the institute in general, part 3 of the first schedule. So you've got one more thing, which is other misconduct in relation to members of the institute generally, part 4 of the first schedule. So in first schedule, you got 4 parts. And each of this part is going to explain what is about conduct of how a company secretary should conduct himself. And if you don't conduct in the manner prescribed, it is referred to as professional misconduct and subject to disciplinary action. And next comes professional misconduct in relation to company secretary in practice requiring action by disciplinary committee, part 1 of second schedule. What are all the various misconduct which can go to disciplinary committee? Professional misconduct in relation to members of the institute generally, requiring action by disciplinary committee. To give you an example, I told you, generally means what? Being a member of the institute without permission of the institute, you are carrying on a business activity. So then you will be subject to disciplinary committee action. Other misconduct in relation to members of the institute in general, part 3 of the second schedule. Are you able to understand this? Very important. You have in first schedule 4 parts, and in second schedule you got 3 parts, which summarizes as to what all the things a company secretary should do or should not do. If a person does something which is not supposed to be done as a member, then that company secretary will be subject to disciplinary action. Okay, let us go through that quickly about what all the things which is provided for under first part 1 of first schedule. Then we'll go to part 2 of first schedule and all that. Okay, professional misconduct of the members. First one, we'll take it up as company secretaries in practice. If you are going to be a company secretary in practice, what are the different types of things which you should do or you should not do, and that is governed under part 1 of the first schedule. Let me take you through one by one quickly. Clause 1 provides that a company secretary in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of a professional misconduct if he allows any person to practice in his name as a company secretary, unless such person is also a company secretary in practice and is in partnership with or employed by him. Now there is a clause here. Now carefully understand, dear student, the structure of it is you have a Company Secretaries Act, under that you have a schedule, under that part 1. In part 1 there is clause 1. What does it say? Let me explain this to you. Carefully observe. If you are a company secretary in practice, if you are going to allow anyone else to practice in your name, say now I'm a company secretary, I have taken a certificate of practice. Now என்ன பண்றேன், என்னோட பிரதரை என்னோட நேம்ல ஆப்ரேட் பண்ண, அவர் எங்க ஆபீஸ்ல உட்காந்து அவர் தான் கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி மாதிரி எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. அது அலௌடா டிஸ்அலௌடா? Not allowed. It's a professional misconduct. But I can allow another company secretary. இப்போ நீங்க நாளைக்கு எல்லாரும் குவாலிஃபை ஆகுது, நான் ஒரு company secretary in practice. One of you also you are a qualified company secretary. Can I allow you to practice in my name? Unless I can't do it. Unless what? You are a partner in my firm. So if a company secretary is going to allow any person in practice in his name as a company secretary, unless such person is also a company secretary and is in partnership with or employed by him, I can allow you to practice in my name or do something on my behalf, provided you are also a company secretary qualified, or either you are my partner or in my employment. I am running an office of company secretaries and you are a qualified company secretary, you are working with me. And you are eligible to what? Do work on my behalf. But otherwise, no one else can operate on my behalf. Have you understood this? Very simple point, but very powerful point. Clause 1 is talking about that. Clause 2 is talking about a company secretary in practice shall be deemed to be in misconduct if he pays or allows or agrees to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share or commission or brokerage in the fees or profit of his professional business to any other person other than a member of the institute or a partner or a retired partner or the legal representative of a deceased partner or a member of any other professional body or such other person having qualification as may be prescribed. This is a lengthy para. இது மாதிரி எத்தனை கிளாஸ் இருக்கு நான் சொல்றேன். கிட்டத்தட்ட உங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப டீடைல்டா இருக்கும். பட் எக்ஸாம் பர்பஸை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் உங்களுக்கு இவ்வளவு டீடைல்டா நீங்க பார்க்க வேண்டியது இல்லை. ஓகே, ஸோ கிட்டத்தட்ட உங்களுக்கு ஒரு 11 classes. There are 11 classes. What is containing 11 classes? Part 1, Schedule 1. In the 11 classes பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் at your executive level, each class states what அப்படின்னு தெரிஞ்சுனா போதும். இதுக்கு மேல ரொம்ப டீடைல்டா போக வேண்டிய அவசியம் கிடையாது. Now, of course, there are twin objectives. At the beginning itself, I said, you are becoming a company secretary, so your knowledge should be good. அது ஒரு aspect. But there is another thing, passing exam. ரெண்டுமே இருக்கு, நான் இல்லைன்னு சொல்லல. நான் தான் சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, short term objective is passing exam, long term objective is becoming a good company secretary. நான் சொன்ன ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்கா. So the short-term objective of passing exams பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் உங்களுக்கு எந்த டெப்த்துக்கு போகணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தெரியும். ஸோ நீங்க பாட்டு ஃபுல்லா லைன் பை லைன் உட்காந்து படிச்சுட்டு எக்ஸாம்ல எழுதணுங்கிற அவசியம் கிடையாது. ப்ராக்டிக்கலா டிஃபிகல்ட் ஏன்னா there are so many things in it. But at least you should know the points. ஏன்னா உங்களுக்கு எக்ஸாம்ல டைரக்ட் கொஸ்டின் வரும், இன்டைரக்ட் கொஸ்டின் வரும். டைரக்ட் கொஸ்டின் எப்படி வாட் ஆல் த வேரியஸ் மிஸ்கான்டக்ட் திங்ஸ் வந்தா நீங்க லிஸ்ட் பண்ணிடலாம். சில சமயம் என்ன பண்ணுவோம், கேஸ் பேஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் கொடுக்கும். Sometimes they'll offer you a case-based question. They'll ask you to explain or comment. Mr. X, a company secretary, allows his brother, Mr. Y, to practice in his name as a company secretary. Mr. Y is not a company secretary. Comment, keeping in mind the ACS, the Institute of Company Secretaries Act, Company Secretaries Act of 1980. Then you need to quote this particular clause, and part 1 of Schedule 1 to the Secretaries Act, Company Secretaries Act states that no person, the words allow, if you allow any person to practice in your name, etc., then it is a professional misconduct. So the second point is very simple but given in a very detailed way. As a member of an institute, as a practicing company secretary, I am not supposed to give any fees or commission to anyone for sourcing me some job. நீங்க வந்து ஒரு என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட், ஃபேமிலி ஃப்ரெண்ட், நான் ஒரு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி or நீங்களும் ஒரு கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரின்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. அதாவது there has to be some arrangement. That's called a network arrangement. Now, carefully understand, dear students, as a company secretary, in practice, you can have a network or arrangement with another company secretary or other company secretaries or professionals like chartered accountants or cost accountants. இப்போ நான் வந்து ஒரு practicing chartered accountant, நீங்க ஒரு practicing company secretary. நான் உங்களுக்கு ஒரு client ரெஃபர் பண்றேன். அந்த ஃபீஸ்ல எனக்கு வந்து நீங்க ஒரு பார்ட் ஆஃப் இட் as a professional agreement itself. ஏன்னா it's my client and referring it to you with respect to secretarial work. Carefully understand this. I am a chartered accountant in practice offering a CA service for my client, and in the course of offering a CA service, I am taking help of you as a company secretary to perform certain secretarial activities like secretarial audit, etc. அதுக்கு அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Fees வந்து from the fees you need to pay me 20%, 30%, etc. That is okay. But otherwise, you cannot engage a broker and ask him to bring some business to you and give him some commission and all that. Now I'll read this, now you can understand it better. No company secretary shall pay or allow or agree to pay or allow directly or indirectly any share. You cannot give a share of your fees or a commission. I cannot give commission to someone or brokerage in the fees or profit. என்னோட profit அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு ஷேர் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. Of his professional business to any person other than, but to whom you can give, a member. அவர் ஒரு மெம்பர் ஆஃப் த இன்ஸ்டிடியூட், உங்களுக்குள்ள ஒரு அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட் இருக்கு, நெட்வொர்க் இருக்குன்னா பண்ணலாம், அதர்வைஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. And a partner or retired partner or a legal representative. It can so happen that in a company secretary firm, there are 5 partners. The agreement says on death of a partner, the legal representative will get every month 1 lakh. No. That's okay. So a legal representative of a deceased partner can get something like this, periodic amount of 1 lakh or whatever, but otherwise not. And or any member of any other professional body like CA or ICWA, if you have the prescribed qualification for the purpose of rendering such services within India or outside India. It's a sort of a network arrangement that is allowed. Now we are going to discuss later about something called multidisciplinary firms. Have you heard of that? Mega firms or multidisciplinary firms. அப்படின்னா என்ன அர்த்தம் அப்படின்னா, இன்னைக்கு the law allows us, the regulations allow us to have a partnership with multiple disciplinary. I can, as a company secretary, have a practicing CA as my partner. எல்லாருமா சேர்ந்து பார்ட்னர்ஷிப் ஆரம்பிக்கிறோம். நான் CA practice பண்றேன், நீங்க company secretary practice பண்றீங்க. Allowed. And one thing I'll tell you today is that all of you should keep in mind that in the days to come, when you choose to start your practice, etc., you should join as a team and start, because the size of the firm matters today. ஒரு ஆளா பண்றதுங்கிறதுல அந்த காலத்துல it was possible. So we'll be discussing that in the topic on mega firms. It's practically difficult today to operate individually. So it's an advantageous position for many people to join together and start a big firm. And you can also start a firm with multiple disciplines. You can have a lawyer, you have a chartered accountant, you have a company secretary, you have a cost accountant, and all of them can join together and start a firm. Okay, no problem on that. Here, so there is a very important development which has happened recently. All institutes are allowing multidisciplinary firms. So it's an advantage. It's like a one-stop shop. Your office open பண்றீங்க, அந்த ரூம் போங்க சார், சிஏ இருக்காரு, இந்த ரூம் போங்க சார், கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி, எப்படி ஒரு மல்டிடிசிப்ளினரி ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் போறோம். போனா ஹார்ட் ஸ்பெஷலிஸ்ட் இருக்காரு, இங்க போனா நியூராலஜிஸ்ட் இருக்காரு, அங்க போனா அவர் இருக்காரு, எல்லாமே இருக்காங்க ஒரே ஹாஸ்பிட்டல். அதே மாதிரி ஒரு மல்டிடிசிப்ளினரி ஃபார்ம் இன்னைக்கு பர்மிஷன். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி கேசஸ்ல நீங்க உங்களுக்குள்ள அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட்ஸ் வச்சுக்கலாம், அதெல்லாம் ப்ராப்ளம் கிடையாது. பட் யூ கேனாட் கிவ் எனி ஒன் எல்ஸ் லைக் brokerage or a commission. Understood? The third clause states that the company secretary in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of misconduct if he accepts or agrees to accept any part of the profits or professional work of a person who is not a member of the institute. எப்படி நீங்க கொடுக்க கூடாதோ அதே மாதிரி வாங்கவும் கூடாது. You are not supposed to get a share of profit from any other person who is not a member of the institute. Now, one thing is important here. You need to pick up that point. As a professional, we are supposed to be independent. One thing which should come into your mind as being a professional is you are supposed to be independent. It means you are not supposed to be influenced by anyone in any form. Or, for example, if somebody says that I give you 5 lakh rupees, then you will sign anything, no? That means you are getting easily influenced. Hey, அந்த செக்ரட்டரி ஆடிட் சர்டிபிகேட் நீ போட்டு நான் பாத்துக்கிறேன், நீ 5 லட்சம் ரூபாய் ஃபீஸ் தர, நீ வாங்கிக்கோ, ப்ராஃபிட் ஷேர் தர வாங்கிக்கோன்னா இட்ஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷனலிசம். As a practicing company secretary, you are not supposed to accept anything also. You are not supposed to give commission or brokerage. You are not supposed to accept share, unless there is a proper arrangement with the other members. Which is allowed. Got the point? The fourth one is about, clause 4 is about, a company secretary shall be deemed to be guilty of misconduct if he enters into a partnership in or outside India with any person other than a company secretary in practice, apart from the multidisciplinary firm. Okay, that multidisciplinary firm is still permitted now, but apart from that, you cannot go and join with an architect or in such other person or who is not a member of the institute, etc. And so which is not recognized by government. So you are not supposed to become a partner of any other firm unless it is a multidisciplinary firm or a mega firm where you can become a partner with company secretaries or with chartered accountants, cost accountants. That is permitted. Otherwise, you are not supposed to become a partner with any other person. If you do so, then you are guilty of misconduct. Understood? This is clause 4. Coming to clause 5. A company secretary in practice shall be deemed to be guilty of misconduct if he secures either through the services of a person who is not an employee or of such company secretary or one who is not a partner and by any means which is not open to a company secretary as a professional business. You are not supposed to secure any business through any agency or something like that, other than an employee or anybody who is associated with it. I'll repeat the point, clause 5. A company secretary should not, what he should not do, if he secures either through services of a person who is not an employee or who is not a partner by any means which are not open to a secretary by any professional business. That is, I am a company secretary in practice. I am not supposed to seek any business or solicit any business or bring any business through agent. எனக்கு ஃப்ரெண்ட் இருக்காரு, என் கிளாஸ்மேட், அவரு தான் எனக்கு ஏஜென்ட். அவர் போய் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, ஒரு கிளைண்டா பாப்பாரு, ஒருத்தரே பாப்பாரு, சார் என் ஃப்ரெண்டு தான் கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி, அவருக்கு உங்க ஒர்க் எல்லாம் கொடுங்க. அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணலாமா? இன்னும் முடியாது. It's a professional misconduct. So as a company secretary, I am not supposed to allow anyone other than my employee or anybody who is a partner. The third person cannot come and bring business to me for my practice. And what I eventually have to do is I have to give him some commission and all that. So after point 1 clause 1 so அதுவும் பண்ணக்கூடாது. அதாவது the CA SWACS எப்படின்னா, very interesting, you all should know. Advertisement பண்ணக்கூடாது. இந்த மாதிரி யாரும் ஆரம்பிச்சு brokerage, commission, agency எல்லாம் பண்ணக்கூடாது. For getting a professional work, you are not supposed to advertise. For getting a professional work, you are not supposed to engage brokers, commission agents, blah, blah, blah. You all saw that. Then how will you get work? உங்களுடைய பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூ கேட்கிறேன். நீங்க அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் பண்ணக்கூடாது, இது பண்ணக்கூடாது, யாரையும் என்கேஜ் பண்ணக்கூடாது. ஒரு பிசினஸ்னா இதெல்லாம் பண்ணி ஆகணும் இல்லையா? ப்ரொஃபஷனல் நீங்க பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னா நீங்க அப்புறம் எப்படி உங்களுக்கு கிளைண்ட்ஸ் வரும் சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். advertisement பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு restrict பண்றாங்கன்னா again the independence is lost and all that. So even doctors are governed by that rule, similar rule. Doctors cannot advertise. நான் வந்து ஒரு பேப்பர்ல இங்க ஆட் பார்த்திருக்கேன், டாக்டர் so XYZ I have successfully operated a person and transplanted his liver and at a very low cost, very successful doctor, kindly visit me of the clinic anytime போடுங்க அட்ரஸ் பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா நீங்க? Ever seen such an ad? Have you ever wondered why I'm not finding any such ad? You are not supposed to. It's code of conduct for doctors. So similar thing applies for a chartered accountant, company secretary, and the CMA also. அப்ப எப்படிதான் உங்களுக்கு client கிடைக்கும்? So it's very interesting. So by word of mouth, by networking is important today. Networking na enna? You have to meet people. நீங்க advertisement பண்ண முடியாது, but you can make yourself visible to eyes of everyone. அவர் போறாரு, அவர் தான் சார்ட்டர்ட் அக்கவுண்டன்ட், எங்க ஏரியால தான் இருக்காரு, சூப்பரா பிராக்டிஸ் பண்றாரு, நல்லா பண்ணுவாரு, நீங்க போனீங்கன்னா அவர் பண்ணலாம். ஜெனரலா ஒரு ஒப்பீனியன் தான் கிரியேட் பண்ண முடியுமே தவிர அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. நான் யாருக்கும் ஒரு கமிஷன் கொடுக்க முடியாது. ஏய் அப்பா நீ போய் சொல்லுப்பா, நான் 1 lakh பீஸ் அவங்க 5000 ரூபாய் தரப்பான்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. Then comes clause 6. A company secretary shall be deemed guilty of misconduct if he solicits clients or professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or interview or any other manner, provided that nothing is preventing a person from securing a professional job through networking and all that, as I was telling you. You are not supposed to publish any advertisement. You are not supposed to directly or indirectly tell people I am. Indirectly எப்படி பண்ணலாம்? நீங்க இன்டைரக்டா எப்படி பண்ணலாம்னா, ஒரு டிவி இன்டர்வியூல வந்து நான் வந்து சென்னையில 35 வருஷமா கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரியா பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன் நீங்க சொல்லக்கூடாது. ஆனா டிவி இன்டர்வியூ எடுக்கிறவர் என்ன சொல்லலாம், இவர் வெங்கடேசன், இவர் 35 வருஷமா கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரியா பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு, அவர் வந்து நமக்கு சில தகவல்கள் சொல்ல போறாருன்னு சொல்லலாம். பட் இன்டைரக்டா நீங்களே போய் அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் மாதிரி பண்ண முடியாது. இப்போ நிறைய ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் டிவியில பெய்ட் அட்வர்டைஸ்மெண்ட் தெரியுமா உங்களுக்கு? Are you aware of that? There are a lot of advertisements which look like actually genuine interview மாதிரி இருக்கும், ஆனா அது பெய்டு. டிவி ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தா தெரியும், நிறைய ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ்ல வந்து ஒரு இன்டர்வியூ எடுத்துட்டு இருப்பாங்க. சார் நீங்க அதை எப்படி சார் பண்றீங்க, நீங்க எப்படி சார் பண்றீங்க, இது இன்டைரக்ட். நாளைக்கு இன்ஸ்டியூட்டுக்கு தெரிய இருந்ததுன்னா உங்களுக்கு ப்ரொஃபஷனல் மிஸ்கான்டாக்ட்னு சொல்லுவோம். நான் வந்து என்ன பண்றேன், ஒரு எக்ஸ் டிவியில போய் ஒரு 50,000 ரூபாய் தரேன், கொடுத்து நீங்க என்ன இன்டர்வியூ பண்ணுங்க half an hour about my company secretary profession, about my achievements as if நீங்க என்ன இன்டர்வியூ பண்ற மாதிரி பண்ணுங்கன்னா அது இன்டைரக்ட் வே ஆஃப் சார்சிங். ஸோ தட் இஸ் நாட் அலோட். அவங்களே உங்களுடைய you are a very good leading chartered accountant for some opinion on budget கூப்பிடுறாங்க, அது ஓகே. You go and tell your views in a budget, about a budget in a TV interview, fine. But you cannot solicit client directly or indirectly by advertisement, all this. Now again you may wonder, sir, if somebody is going to prove or establish, including the disciplinary committee, that you have done something like this, then they can take immediate action against that particular person. So they can bar him from becoming a member of the institute. Understood? Clear? So that is about clause 6. Clause 7, let us move on now. As I said, there are a lot of details in your book. Don't get into too much of detail, not required at this stage. Clause 7 talks about you should not advertise. If a company secretary is advertising his professional achievements or services, etc., or uses any expression to basically tell that I have achieved this, I have achieved that in different forms, then you are supposed to be a person who has carried out some activity which is of a professional misconduct. Let me repeat. A company secretary shall be deemed to be of professional misconduct if he advertises his professional achievements or services or uses any designation or expression other than company secretary. You cannot say company secretary with Padma Shri award சொல்ல முடியாது, அது போடக்கூடாது. உங்க லெட்டர் ஹெட்ல கூட நீங்க போடக்கூடாது, ஸ்பெஷலா மென்ஷன் எதுவும் பண்ணக்கூடாது. கம்பெனி செக்ரட்டரி பிராக்டிஸ் ஃபார் லாஸ்ட் 25 years போட முடியாது, செலிப்ரேட்டிங் சில்வர் ஜூபிலின்னு போட முடியாது, எதுவுமே பண்ணக்கூடாது. ஆனா கிளைண்ட் மட்டும் நீங்க, அதுதான் உங்களுடைய நெட்வொர்க்கிங் ஸ்கில். If you do that, you will be guilty of professional misconduct. Then you are not supposed to use any name cards, visiting cards, letterheads or signboard which talks about anything like special mention பண்ணினா பண்ணக்கூடாது. They allow you வாசல்ல போர்டு போட்டுக்கலாம், ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. Venkateshan, chartered accountant, company secretary, whatever, that is allowed. But beyond that, you cannot say the one and only company secretary in India who has done this. Coming to clause 8, A professional company secretary shall be guilty of misconduct if he accepts the position of company secretary in practice, which is previously held by another company secretary in practice without communicating with him in writing. Very important. Now, Mr. X was a company secretary for last year in the company, practicing company secretary. He was carrying out the secretarial audit. Now, the company wants to replace him and appoint Y. He's a company secretary also. When Y is going to become a company secretary, he should communicate with X, saying that I am going to take up the role as a company secretary in this company. If you have any professional objections, kindly let me know. And that X should tell him whether he is okay or not, because he may have some professional objections. If that is the case, he may say, no, this company is not properly functioning. There's a major fraud happening, etc. So don't take the job. I have objections in that. Objections means it can be a direct objection. என்னுடைய job நீங்க எடுத்துக்கிறீங்கன்னு objection கிடையாது. But I have some professional objections. The company is not properly maintaining records, details கேட்டா கொடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க, எதுவும் பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க, அப்புறம் எப்படி audit பண்றது? So you can communicate that. So this is a professional misconduct if you don't do that. If you don't communicate with the earlier company secretary and carry out your job as a company secretary, then you are deemed to be carrying out a professional misconduct and subject to. Then comes clause 9. No company secretary should charge a fees or accept or offer any fees based on a percentage of profit or contingent upon something. Very important point. Unga fees எப்படி இருக்கும் நார்மலா அப்படின்னா 1 lakh rupees for the audit. That is okay. But you cannot say out of profits 5% சொல்ல முடியாது. இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங், ஒரு சார்ட்டர்ட் அக்கௌண்டன்ட் வந்து P&L ஃபைனான்ஸ் பண்றாருன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. அவர் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, உங்க ப்ராஃபிட்ல 5% கொடுங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அவர் என்ன பண்ண வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு, ப்ராஃபிட்ட ஜாஸ்தியா காட்ட வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. ஏன்னா அவர் கமிஷன் இஸ் 5% on profits, கரெக்டா? So independence is lost. So a company secretary cannot accept a fees based on percentage of profit or contingent upon something. அது நடந்ததுன்னா எனக்கு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா ஃபீஸ் கொடுங்கன்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. Professional fees should be fixed, should be discussed, should be agreed, should be communicated in a written form before you accept the assignment, and everything should be in black and white. Nothing like no dependent upon that, dependent upon this. இது வந்து எனக்கு 5% extra கொடுங்க, அது இல்லாட்டி எனக்கு 5% வேணும். No ifs and buts. If you do so, then there's a professional misconduct. So don't accept fees on that basis. You have to very clearly state your fees. Nothing to be based on profit sharing or based on percentage of profit and all, not allowed. Then coming to clause 10, if he's going to engage, this is what I was telling you. If a professional misconduct will happen, if you're going to engage yourself in an occupation other than company secretary. If you're going to be a company secretary who's got a membership and also certificate of practice, you're not supposed to do certain things. Starting a business owner. But now today I'm a chartered accountant in practice, I have a certificate of membership. Can I do coaching activity that is allowed by the institute? You can still think about, sir, maybe coaching நடக்குறார். அவர் வந்து CA, நான் வந்து CA மெம்பர். 3 இன்ஸ்டிடியூட்ல நான் CA பிராக்டிஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். உங்களுக்கு டவுட் என்ன வரலாம், சார் மட்டும் இப்படி மெம்பராகவும் இருக்காரு, பிராக்டிஸ் பண்றாரு, ஆனா கோச்சிங்லாம் எடுக்கிறாரு, அப்படி நீங்க கோச்சிக்க கூடாது. Nothing is bringing a smile in your faces. Very surprising. Human beings have lost the ability to smile or what? எதை சொன்னாலும் அப்படியே ஸ்டாயிக் ரியாக்ஷன். ஏன்னா அவ்வளவு ப்ரெஷர் இல்லை. ஏமா கரெக்ட். ஸோ என்னடா ஒரு கிளாஸ் முடிச்சா நான் அடுத்து படிக்கணும் போயிட்டு நீங்க பாட்டுக்கு கிளாஸ் போயிட்டே இருக்கு, முடிக்க போறேன் 2 minutes. React. A small smile. We human beings can smile, can acknowledge. Yes, sir. You're right, sir. Whatever you said. அதெல்லாம் நம்ம எல்லாருமே போயிட்டு, including me. நீங்க போட்டு சொல்லுங்க சார். நான் காலில் கேட்கிறோம், உங்களுக்கு என்ன சிரிச்சா என்ன, சிரிக்கிறதுனா உங்களுக்கு என்ன சார்? நீங்க பாட்டு பாடம் நடத்துங்க, உங்களுக்கு வேற பாடம் நடத்துங்க. நீங்க ஏன் அதெல்லாம் பாட்டு? அதனாலதான் நான் வீடியோலயே வரமாட்டேன். வீடியோல வந்தா ஏன் சிரிக்கலன்னு கேட்கிறேன். சிரிக்கலாம் சொல்லுவோம், ஒரு அக்னாலேஜ் தான் பண்ண சொல்லுவோம். எஸ் சார், வாட் யூ சேயிங் இஸ் ரைட், பர்ஃபெக்ட், யூ ஷுட் நாட் டு தட். சம்திங் ஆஃப் தட் சார்ட். கீப் நாடிங் யுவர் ஹெட், கீப் putting a small smile on your face. Yes sir, what you say is right. நான் சொல்றது ஜோக் மாதிரி தெரிஞ்சாலே கொஞ்சம் ஸ்மைல் பண்ணுவோம். ஜோக்குங்கிறத நான் ஜோக் மாதிரி சொல்லாட்டாலும் ஏதோ ஜோக் சொல்ல ட்ரை பண்றாருனால கொஞ்சம் எஃபர்ட் அப்ரிஷியேட் பண்ணி கொஞ்சம் ஸ்மைல் பண்ணுவோம். சார் எஸ் சார், குட் ஜோக்னு ஒரு எனக்காக சொல்லுவாங்க, தப்பு கிடையாது சார், நீங்க நல்ல ஜோக் சொன்னீங்க சார். ஆனா நீங்க என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க, நான் சொல்றது ஜோக் மாதிரியே இருக்காது. அப்புறம் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் அவர் கிளாஸ் ஒரு ஜோக் கூட அடிக்க மாட்டாருப்பா, அவர் பயங்கர கிளாஸ் எடுத்துட்டே இருப்பாரு. அவர் பயங்கர இது சும்மா அவரு நீங்க என்ன சொல்லுவீங்க, அவர் சிரிக்கவே மாட்டாரு, அப்படியே கிளாஸ்க்கு வந்தாருன்னா அப்படியே கிளாஸ்க்கே போயிட்டு இருப்பாரு. இன்னும் ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்ட்லியா வேண்டாமா அப்படின்னு நீங்க நினைக்கலாம். அதுக்கெல்லாம் நமக்கு டைம் இல்லையே இல்லையா, ஏன் லாட் டு கவர். Okay, jokes apart. Okay, so this live classes I like it for the reason that it's it's giving an opportunity to be interact. நம்ம டைரக்ட் கிளாஸஸ் விட டைரக்ட் கிளாஸஸ்ல கூட ஒரு டிஸ்டன்சிங் இருக்கு, இங்க அப்படி இல்லை, எல்லாமே ஸ்க்ரீன்ல நமக்கு தெரியுது. ஸோ எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு இது நல்ல அட்வான்டேஜஸ். நீங்க யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் அட்வான்டேஜ் ஆஃப் தட். பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணணும், கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கேட்கலாம், தப்பு கிடையாது. எனி சார்ட் ஆஃப் டவுட், சார் இப்படி பண்ணலாமா சார், அப்படி பண்ணலாமா சார் கேட்கலாம். Okay, so we have covered some 10 clauses here. The last one, you should not allow a person not being a member of the institute in practice or not being a partner to sign on your behalf. That's something similar to the first point. Now, when I am going to be a company secretary in practice, I only have to sign it, or my partner can sign it. I cannot allow any other person to sign on behalf of myself. That's clause number 11. If you do so, anything of any important documents, if you allow another person to sign, is professional misconduct. Clear? Good. So I think we made a very good start today, and we have a long way to go, and we'll cover the other aspects probably in coming sessions. So when you go through this in your institute material, you can download soft copy of the material. If you don't have hard copy of it, don't worry. And what it Dharini and Sai Lakshmi, just stay back. I want to just brief you about certain things. You're newly joined, so others, thank you for your active participation. You're all already there. We have discussed many things, so thank you, and we'll catch up again in the next session. Hopefully, we'll be again meeting again tomorrow for another session. I'll communicate regarding the class and timings and the topic. So kindly attend. Thanks a lot for your attendance and active participation. Have a great day. Thank you. So Sai Lakshmi and Dharmi, just stay back for a few minutes. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.